This week we're talking about special effects and basic ways for you to improve your skills in creating them. For this episode, we're going to be talking about simple lightsaber effects and how to create them, as well as troubleshooting any issues that you might encounter while building them in After Effects. Now, this is something I usually don't use for a client on a normal basis, as I don't really choreograph fight scenes.
All right, nothing too difficult though, right? This is it right here.
But it's good to try new things in After Effects, so that way, when you actually do get a paid job, you do have some idea of what you're doing. And doing things like fun lightsaber effects can help teach you different things that you didn't know before, while also having fun. And I mean, what better way to practice After Effects than creating lightsabers? I mean, who wouldn't want to create, who wouldn't want to make lightsabers?
Hold the two fingers, very mango-like. Perfect.
Special thanks to Josh and Brett for meeting me in a random parking lot at close to midnight.
I am sub-evil.
And for Josh for wearing a heavy black trench coat when it was close to 80 degrees out and the humidity that South Carolina is famous for. Now, as fun as this lightsaber video was and the cool special effects of it, let's actually take a look at the history of special effects and where they come from. And Star Trek to me is really where the first innovation of special effects in video production really came into play. In order to create some of these cool special effects like beaming people to the planet, they would have to get 3 separate shots for some of these. One of the actors, one of the room without the actors, and another of the glittering effect, which they would create by using aluminum powder. After this, they would combine the film together and create a mask, which is almost like a hole in the film itself around the characters and overlay the glittering effect over the actor so it would only show up over them. And this was all done without the use of any computer-generated graphics or any easy way to do this that we have today.
Computer, request security procedure. Kirk, Admiral James T.
Eventually, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan would become the first successful film to use computer-generated graphics successfully in a movie. Now, these computer-generated graphics in the film were created by Lucasfilm's computer division, which would eventually become part of the group that became Pixar. Now, while I'm going through After Effects and showing you how to create lightsaber effects, it's really easy to forget where special effects came from and the purpose that they were created for, which is to augment a story and to further a story. It's really easy to forget with all the special effects nowadays that the most important part of a film or video is the story behind it. That the story is more important than the special effects. That's something even Pixar would tell you. Now, whenever you add in effects to your video, make sure it enhances the story and does not distract from the story or become the story itself. If it does, you need to reevaluate the approach you're taking with the effects. Now, on to the lightsaber effects. All right, so the first thing I do when I do the lightsaber effects, you pull the clip into the Premiere timeline, and I usually like to edit out all my sequences, lightsaber sequences, before I start editing them. So after you pull your sequences together in the way you want, just go ahead and right-click that file and hit the Replace with After Effects composition. This will pull it up in After Effects. Here it pulls up. So it loads it to After Effects. And the great thing about this is as soon as you're done editing and saving this, it puts it right back into your Premiere project, so you don't have to do any rendering of it in After Effects, and you can continually edit as you're going along. One of the great features of Adobe products. Okay, so to start out, let's just find a generic scene with the lightsabers. So what you're gonna want to first do is create a solid. You're going to come up to Layer, New, Solid, and you're going to create a white solid. And it's gonna black out the screen, and go over here to the left and hide that screen for a second. And then you're gonna wanna come up here to your pen tool and come in, and you're going to want to outline the lightsaber with the pen tool and give it 3 dots on each side of the lightsaber. And this kind of helps make the look smooth. Some people like to do it with 2. I prefer to kind of do it with 3. It gives it a better look. And then just kind of smooth those 2 middle ones out so you can kind of wrap it around the lightsaber and kind of match how the beginning of the hilt looks. So from there, you're gonna come down to mask, open this white solid up and hit mask path. And this is gonna help remember on each frame as you move along where this mask over the lightsaber is. And see if you unhide it, there the white solid is now just showing up just on your lightsaber. From here, you'll go along and go on each frame and keep adding and keep adjusting your mask per frame and moving along with the lightsaber. So as you go along, you can see it moves. So that's the basic concept of masking the lightsaber. So when you're done with that, go over here, hit M on your keyboard twice to bring that solid down. And you're gonna wanna duplicate this twice, which for a Windows computer is Control D, and I believe for Apple it's Command D. So you're gonna hit that 4 times and create 4 duplicates of this white solid. By holding Shift, select all 5 of these masks, and then from there, double click M. Now within this, in each of these, we're going to want to change the mask feather of each of the masks. So for the first one, do 3, do 10, feather the third one to 30, the next one to 60, and feather the last one to 120, and then select them all again, and hit M to collapse them all back down. Now you can already see that the lightsaber is already starting to glow. Because of all these white solids, we can't actually change the color of it yet. So in order to be able to change the color, you're gonna wanna come up to Layer again, hit Solid, create a black solid, drag the black solid underneath each of the white solids. And as you can see, it creates this mask over it with the black, and the mask comes over it. So from this, you're going to select all of these, right click on your mouse, and hit Pre-Compose. And I'll just call this lightsaber red, or LR. And this creates it into one file, which you could edit. From there, you're gonna want to go to blending modes on this new composition that you've created and click on screen. And that will screen the black and allow the lightsaber effect to come through. But from this, now you're able to edit the colors. So there's multiple ways to do this, and a quick way is to come over to Effects and use the Curves effect. Click and drag it over on top of it, and depending on the color you want to use, you can use red or green. Now we'll just do red because it's obviously the villain, and you can kind of adjust it to get the kind of color that you want from it. Now sometimes I do like to duplicate this file twice to kind of give the lightsaber a brighter look to it. And there is the lightsaber effect, kind of how you get that glowing quality and to change the color of the lightsaber. Now for this scene, you might have a couple issues because of how still the character stays in this, and the lightsabers don't really move around. So when the lightsabers don't really move around, what'll happen is if you try to do it by hand, there's too many slight movements, and each of those slight movements will start becoming too much, and you'll start having the lightsaber glitch around and not have this nice, smooth look to it. So to kind of get this, what you're gonna wanna do is come down here to your actual video file, come up to Animation, Track Motion. So you're gonna want to have both the position and the rotation. So we double click on the rotation, take this first point, drag it over to the hilt of your lightsaber and kind of adjust it so it can tell while it moves, and pull the second track point over and open it. And from this, you can either watch it go along together, like this. And see, sometimes you'll have it where it'll move off, depending, and my footage is kind of dark from when we filmed, so it is kind of hard for it to track it sometimes. So sometimes you'll have to kind of come in here and watch it manually. So as you come along, just adjust it manually. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it has some problems trying to track with what you want it to track. And it might be because I made it just slightly too large. And then sometimes you can just hit it and let it go, and it will track automatically for you. So let me go ahead and open up one that I've already done. Now here's one from the video you just saw. So, and notice how, while this plays, see how smooth the lightsaber is and it doesn't move at all? This is because I used that tracking motion on the same one. So as you can see down here, the tracker with the 2 tracking points tracked each individual one of these as the lightsaber itself moved. So after you're done with this tracking effect, you're going to come over here, hit edit target when it pulls up, and you're going to apply it to a null object, which you're going to create by going to layer, new, and then null object. This will get applied to the null object, which if I open up one of these, you'll see this null object in here with the lightsaber. This adds all the different the position of the first tracking point, and then the rotation of the actual blade itself. From that, you go ahead and create your solid just like you would with your mask, and then you're going to come in here under the parent link and attach it to the null object. From that point, you can see as the blade, you don't even have to do anything to it keyframing wise, because this track camera motion will move along with the tracked information already, which helps to give that smooth look to your footage. So your blade does not move around too much and has a smooth look with it and tracks with the blade. So that's pretty much it for how to create simple lightsaber effects. Be sure to kind of play around with it. Look back over some of the things I explained on how to do it, but it's fairly simple when you get the hang of it. Good luck making lightsaber effects. That's all for this week's episode. Be sure to keep up with us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to see everything that we do each and every week. Until next week, this is John Owens with A4 Media.